And thank you, everybody. This is such a great group to be family. Thank you. Well, I'm Tina Payne. This is the first time I'm talking about something that's very dear to my heart in front of peers. My family has a legacy in California. I'm the Payne family. You might know my grandparents or my dad from building big properties, yes, and developments. But what I wanted to talk to you about and ask you a couple questions is that I've been a model, I've been a reality star, I've been an actress. I've done a lot of the forefront work on developing my brand. I wrote it down because this is very unique for me to talk about this. Usually I just talk about business. I was vice president of a stockbrokership in my early 20s. I was the only female executive in Newport Beach. So I've done a lot. I've flipped properties. I invented the business development center that's at all the car dealerships across the United States. A whole new mental program. It's like I mixed Amway with Harvard Business School thinking, and I put the two together and invented a whole process of actually building volume. So I tripled the size of companies when I was 23, I think, 24. So I've been doing quite a bit, and what I did is about 6 years ago, I bought a body scanner, Rife Technology, that does exactly everything you've been talking about with our doctor over here. And I've also been doing spiritual work since I was a child. I actually opened that door in 2015 to go public with large majorities of people in the audience. And I was sold out every time. And it's very new because it hasn't been accepted for a very long time. I do healing work, I can see auras, you know what I'm talking about. And you try to hide this most of your life because you don't want to be put in the CIA and sorry if anybody's in CIA, put in a white box. Now, the world has become awake. And I've always been a little bit ahead of what's going on because I can see it ahead of time. So I've worked in the film business, sitting in big rooms for negotiation, and then letting them know when people are lying, when it's good film. So I have quite a history and legacy of what I've already done. And I'm like super humble, so for me this is a big deal to make it about me instead of about what I'm doing and what I accomplish. I'm driven more than I know to see what's coming. I just go do it. I'm a doer. Yeah, right? You are. That's why I was so excited to talk with you. But the biggest part that I was really questioning is how do you structure yourself so you're being able to utilize the spiritual, because I noticed, I'm aware. So to use that and actually get across to people that are more business-minded, because I'm very business-minded. I'm a math person. I love it. So please.
Great question. What did it for me finally is letting go of the fear of being judged. I just said, you know what? I'm going to tell my truth, and to the extent it resonates with people and they like it, great. And to the extent they think I'm a quack, that's okay too. It's okay. I mean, it's funny. I try when I find something, I'm very much like you, when I find something that really works, instead of keeping it close to me and going like, I got an advantage now, I'm gonna really, I go, this is great. I want everybody to share this. So I found this technology. This was great. It was a great story. So I'm playing with golf at my club with this accountant who's a friend of mine, the most precise human being I've ever seen. And so I get this thought in my head. I say, you know what? I should tell this guy about the AccuScope because it'll help him, his coordination, he'll be able to play golf better. I said, no. I'm not going to tell. The guy's going to think I'm a quack. So I play another hole with him, and the thought comes back into my head. No, you need to tell him. I go, no, I don't need to tell anybody. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to keep playing golf. It comes in a third time. And I go like, oh, okay, fine. I got to say something. I say, because this thought won't leave my mind. So I start explaining it to him. He looks at me, he goes, you won't believe this. And I said, what? He goes, you know, I used to be a Green Beret medic. I jumped out of a helicopter 40 years ago. I hurt my back, and I've been in pain for 40 years. Every day I get out of bed like this. I can't move. I go, well, you ought to go see this guy. I said, he has this technology. Just take that right out of your body. I said, what do you have to lose? It's like $300. It'll either work or not. He goes, I'm in. So, boom, he goes over, 2.5 treatments, gone. After 40 years of being in pain, he's no longer in pain. I see him at the club. his smile is like as wide as his face. It's a miracle. I just still can't believe it. I get out of bed, I think it's going to hurt. It doesn't hurt. And so I'm like you. What I do is I put it out there, and the fascinating thing I find is how few people make the effort. No, it's all about the effort. You know, it's there. It just takes a little bit of effort to benefit from it, and that gets back to, you know, committing to do something. You know, and I just keep saying to guys that here it is, and the guys that follow up, or the women that follow up, amazing results. But it can leave you with anything. When there's something out there that's interesting you, follow up on it. Don't go like, that's not, you know, that's not logical, you know, that sounds silly. As long as you're not sticking some drug in your body, I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, that's the biggest thing that when I talked to you earlier about curiosity, I mean, I'm just amazed at the stuff that's out there, and a lot of times I'll go do it, and maybe 6 or 7 times nothing happens. But then all of a sudden the one thing happens, I go like, wow, imagine if I hadn't done that just because I didn't think about it. I mean, literally, like I said, with my adrenal glands, it went for 2.5 years and nobody could figure it out. And I finally found this one guy, and I said, absolutely, let's try it. And the stuff that this guy's done is amazing. I go in, I talk to him. He said, this is a classic. He said he had a person who was born with perfect vision. They developed a tumor on their pituitary, and the tumor pressed against their optical nerve. This woman went blind, and they didn't know what happened, so they did a bunch of MRIs. They found the tumor. They took the tumor out, but she was blind. She somehow found her way to this guy. 3 treatments later, could see perfectly. After 7 years after having the tumor removed, she couldn't see. Boom! And she's had perfect vision ever since. So it's just that, I think on our part, to be able to communicate that to people, to let them know that it's out there, and then hoping they take the initiative to go try it.
Sure. Okay, I'm actually a spiritual master, and I had to coin the phrase because it didn't exist. I've been able to, I have many, many gifts, and everyone else does. And now I'm teaching leaders to lead because they affect the most amounts of people. That's why I'm speaking on stage in November. The thing I would ask is, you don't want to be too polarized. You have a life, you have your own things that you do. What would you recommend for me to find a balance in order to be able to share? Because I can see through people, everybody. And you have to love everyone, you guys. I mean, if I'm sitting up here and telling all these leaders, love everybody, no matter what you know, trust that you're here for a reason, because you affect them just as much as they affect you. If you could all see the energy that I see between you, and auras and energy, it's the real thing. Energy is based on everything we exist with. So I know too much about this stuff, and how do I drop it down? I almost have my doctorate in metaphysics just so I have something to tell people I'm no weirdo. You know, I mean, think about it. I've been on TV, I've done big business, but here I am still, getting past the weirdo part.
I think the good news is I believe it's changing. I believe people are starting to see things happen that aren't traditional, normal, and you just got to keep pounding that out there and not get discouraged. I mean, literally, I mean, it's so funny. You know what's really interesting I find is I talk about this stuff, and I think people are going to go like, you're some kind of nut, and instead they go like, wow, I hardly ever hear anybody talk like you. Yeah, isn't it? It's so rewarding for someone to say, I believe that nobody talks like you though. And I said, yeah, but we're out there and this stuff really is true. So embrace it and your life will be enriched. And oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when I used to run around and I always was I just knew that I was going to attract business because I'm a big believer of the law of attraction. And this is really important. You'll say, your thoughts and your words are so important. People just, they don't understand the power of them. So it's really critical how you think. I mean, I'll tell you this. There's a great example. So I was talking to my sister and I said, your greatest fear becomes your biggest reality. So I've seen it happen. For example, a friend of my sister, she had this fear that she was going to have a stroke. Sure enough, she had a stroke. I worked for another guy. He was absolutely scared shitless that he was going to lose this big account. Sure enough, lost the big account. So what you're thinking is exactly what you're going to create. So it's really absolutely essential that you are very precise with your thoughts and your words. Absolutely. And that's, that gets back to what's interesting is, I told you about this book called The Four Agreements. The second agreement is don't take things personally. And that, you see, that just rolls off your tongue. Don't take things personally. Then somebody goes after you, and you're going like, really? And it's so hard to understand that they're just mirroring their insecurities and trying to project them onto you. And I'm telling you, once you're able to do that, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to, as you say, to have an open heart and love. And one of the things I can tell you about energy is energy with no resistance diffuses and goes away. So when somebody comes at you really hard, what people do is they tend to take that energy and throw it right back at the person with even more volume. But if you just kind of go like this, kind of let it go right by, it's fascinating. I'll watch it. They'll rant, rave, and then when you don't react, eventually they just stop. It's fascinating. They do. Because there's no energy to allow them to continue it. It's just fascinating. So, exactly. And you just kind of go, you just think, hey, wow, those guys are dealing with some issues. And, and it just dissipates. It's just fascinating. So.
Okay, then I guess I get to ask one more question. Okay, is this entertaining? Yes, okay, good. Well, the one thing that I think is amazing with the JT Fox organization, I've learned that there is a family out there that understands mindset. And if you're going to come across with mindset, well, let me ask this question. It's easier about the mindset. I'm going to be asking Charlie Sheen, which is our Hollywood area, and you know his lifestyle and you know his past. I'm going to ask him towards a spiritual question that has to do with business. What would you suggest?
Charlie Sheen? Wow.
How do you win?
That's
Tiger blood.
Wow. I actually I'd have to think about that one. Wow? Okay. I have to think about that. You know what? Yeah, it's just nothing. Just oh yeah. I mean, for a profound question, as Charlie Sheen, I'd have to think about that. That he's a interesting character. Yeah. So.
Because if I recognize it as a spiritual, it could become a joke.
Right.
Because it's Charlie Sheen.
Right.
But because he'll use that to motivate himself.
Sure.
If I use it as a business statement, saying, okay, you've had a very interesting past.
Mm-hmm.
How did you brand yourself above that? To get into the figures you did when you did 3 Men.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get there? Because you had to surpass all the biggie guys saying, no, we're not going to pay you. Look at your select, where you're at with prison.
Right.
Sorry.
No, I just don't have. I don't have like a quick answer for you. I wish I did, and then if I did, I'd give it to you. But he's a very. It'll have to be a very thoughtful because he's very quick and witty. So if you ask him the wrong question, he's just going to spin the question and not answer it. He's just going to answer something he wants to answer. So, exactly. Oh, absolutely. Plus, it's his brand. So he's in front of 2,000 people. He's just not going to say something particularly critical. Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to give other people more time, so thank you so much.